if you're joining us, I'm just waiting. I said I was going to go live in 2 minutes, so I'm going to wait the extra 2 minutes, and hopefully people will come on. And if not, what I'm going to be doing, I'll just tell you ahead of time, I'm going to make a Conversations Heart swag for Valentine's Day. So I'm just going to try to keep it very, this project small, not extravagant, mainly because Valentine's Day is kind of hit or miss with me. I don't sell a lot of Valentine's Day arrangements or wreaths, and I don't know if it's because it's not a holiday that many people like to decorate for. So for those who do want to decorate, I'm going to just try to make a small swag, something that's more economical to purchase for such a short period of time. You know, obviously for Christmas, you can put up a wreath for a month. Most people don't keep their Valentine's Day wreaths up for a month, you know, so that's why I want to keep it on the small side. So we'll just wait just a few more minutes and see if anybody else joins us. And I can just tell you real quick that I bought this swag from Joann's. Joann's has a sale at the end of the year, so you can see it's really a small swag. It's only 24 inches, but we're going to make this grow by adding the mesh that we have here. I have 3 colors of mesh. I'm using this burlap mesh, which is a cream and pink. I have a white mesh here. This is called a breeze mesh. And then finally, this is a very new mesh. It's a fine weave mesh. I think it came out this year. It's a very sturdy mesh. And it has a lot of pigment in it. So between these 3 meshes, we're going to load up our swag. I'm going to make a trail of these hearts down these 3 hearts here. Let's get our mesh out of the way. And I think we can just get started. So I've taken the time to open up all of these, to fluff it, to give it some life on this swag. Again, you can see it's very small, but it's going to grow with the things we're going to put in it. Now, on the back, I take my hand and run it right down and make sure that all of the edges, you know, now these ties are just wrapped around a spine. And I'm just taking a little bit of time and pushing down the points of the ties that may scratch the door. So, and a perfect way to test that is when you slide it on your board, you won't hear anything. If you do have one that's going to snag, you'll hear it kind of make a funny sound. So anyway, let's get started. I've cut 5 pieces of each color mesh to 22 inches long. Let's clear the way here. All right, so the 22 inches. And what I'm going to do is just put together a cruffle, and I'm going to put it along the edge of the wreath. All right, so let's see. Bring this down a bit. A little bit more. There we go. Okay, so for a cruffle, all you have to do is take one end of the mesh. All right, just turn it on itself a little bit, and then scrunch up the middle and turn the other end in. And when you pinch them together, you end up with a cruffle, 2 curls and a ruffle. So I'm going to take and put these in along the edge. I'm going to tuck them in, use the ties to tie it in. Because I'm interested in trying to keep this, or to grow this wreath, I'm going to pull the mesh to the outside like that to give it more length on the outside. Now when we get closer in, I'm not going to pull it out as far, and I'll show you with that. So let's just alternate these. Again, I'm just going to make a cruffle. All right, go to the next one. Now I have more mesh if we need it, but I just did 5 of each, which would give us 15 pieces of mesh. So let's, again, just pull it out to the outside. Okay. And one more white. And I think at this point now, as we're getting further down the swag, I'm going to start pulling it in a little bit more so that we don't add too much down here and lose the overall teardrop shape. So now this piece, I'm just going to go a little further into the swag. See, these were kind of on the edge, and this one's just a little bit deeper so that it doesn't come out as far, and it'll continue this teardrop shape. So now let's just keep alternating. Go back to the original one. Again, we're just curling it on itself, scrunching it up the middle. The reason that we curl it in is because we're trying to prevent as much fraying as possible. So mesh will always fray. It's just a fact of mesh life. So we just try to minimize it as best we can. Now this one, as we come down, what I'm going to do with this piece, let me get these out of the way. Okay, now with this piece, we're going to put this piece of mesh coming downward. Okay, not sideways, but downward. So let's do again a crumple. Okay. Okay, now instead of putting it like this, I'm going to put it into the wreath like this. Use these ties up here. And see what it's done? It's given us a point to our wreath. Now we just continue with our pattern. I'm going back to the white. I'm just doing the quick ruffle. And just find two ties that are deeper in, just a little bit deeper, not so much on the edge. We'll go back to the edge when we get closer to the top. Okay, but we are still going to bring this particular one out to the side. All of the ruffles will come out to the side to give it as much length as we possibly can. Uh-oh. I had one piece of mesh go rogue on me. I'll have to pick that up in a minute. Okay, and I did tell you that I cut these at 22 inches. Part of the reason that I did 22 is that these are thinner meshes, and if you go too thin or too short on the mesh itself, you don't get very much coverage if you're using thin mesh. Now in this case, like you can see, this mesh has the window pane look to it, so it's not giving you a very deep color. So that's why I usually go 22 to 25 inches just for those thinner meshes. This one is the only mesh I'm using that actually has quite a bit of pigment and will probably show up pretty easily in the wreath. Alrighty. Okay, we do the white. Okay, scrunch it up the middle and fold in the ends just so that any fraying can be contained within that curl. And pretty much once you're done pulling and tugging on the mesh, it doesn't fray on it, very much after that. It's just pretty much when you're using it, putting it in the wreath is when, if it's going to fray, it's going to fray at that point. Okay. Now I know you can see that I'm starting and ending with the same color. So what I'm going to do is actually just break the pattern a little bit, use my pink one. I'll go down the middle with these other ones. But I just don't want a window pane next to a window pane. I'm just trying to break it up. So I'll just go back to this pink mesh. And you'll see that once you get the mesh in, it's pretty much just a foundation. It's going to blend into your background. When you put your wreaths and your ribbons and your attachments on, you know, you won't really see the mesh. You know it's there, but you won't really see it. Okay, so now let's just quickly put the remaining pieces in the middle here. You put a white in first. Then I'll get that rogue piece that jumped off the table. Okay, and there in the center, we're just going to grab two. This is just filling in. I'm also trying to minimize the green, and you can see that, of course, I used a flocked swag base, but you know, Valentine's Day still is really, it's in February obviously, and that's still kind of a winter month. So you can get away with using a flocked wreath base, I think, pretty much when you do your Valentine's Day wreaths. Okay. And as you can see, once we get our mesh in, you really don't see much of the flock base at all. After we get this on, I'll just prep my conversation hearts. I'm going to put a pipe cleaner, staple pipe cleaner to the back, just one, because we are going to glue them. They're very light. I'm going to use the window pane again. Slightly out of order, but I didn't want all the window panes down at the bottom to kind of mishmash up there. So I'm going to put this one in. Then I'll put the last one, the white one, in to break up all of this window pane. And there we go. We have just one more piece. And hi, Candy. How you doing? It's good to see you here. Thank you, Candy, for sprinkling me. I felt I needed to practice before I went live with you, so I thought I'd just jump on here real quick. Okay, so there we have it. It's completely meshed up, or as my granddaughter called it, mushed up. She can never remember what mesh, that it's mesh, it's not mush. She calls it mush when she works with me. So I'm going to add some greenery to this. Again, all we're trying to do is extend this wreath as much as we can. Okay, so I have a couple of products here. I have this pink. Now, I do want to say that I'm trying to keep this as pink as possible. I've made several Valentine's Day wreaths with pink and red, but I thought these hearts kind of just, because they're all, you can see the hearts are just in the pink tones, so I'm going to try to minimize the red. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep red out of this completely, but I am going to try. All right, so we have this pink, and all I'm going to do is open it up a little bit. Okay. Alrighty, and you can see that it just spreads out a little bit. Okay, and I'm just going to push it down into the mesh and use these ties to hold it in place. Now I'll eventually tie it all in place, but for right now I'm just going to hold it in place like this. And spread these out, make sure that they're fanning out and covering up as much space as I can. And you can see that it gives the swag some size. But because it's kind of frilly and fluffy, it's not going to look too okay. Hi, Kim. Angel's friend, hi. It's nice to see you here. Thank you for joining us. Now, I don't need this long tail, so I'm going to cut it. Alrighty. And again, just pushing this mesh down. And let's try adding one more piece down here. And this one I'm not going to pull out. This one is wider because we want the teardrop. And this one I'm not going to pull out as far. In fact, I may cut it in pieces here. Just cut it naturally where it falls. Part like that. Okay. So I'll use this piece in the middle. And then this piece further down. But again, not pulling it out because I want to keep kind of a teardrop feel to this. Okay, so I'll just put it in through here and hold it in place until we get, I'll glue it. When I'm happy with everything, I'll just stick a little glue on it real quick. Okay, fighting myself here. There it is. That's the piece I wanted to hold in there. I'll hold it with this. Tie. There we go. And then this one, we'll scoot up here. We can cut off a little bit of this one. I have the one pair of clippers that always locks on it. As soon as you clip it once, it locks. It drives me crazy. Okay, so this one I'm going to just pin up here with these two ties. Angel's friend, my base is a Flock 24-inch swag base from Joann's. It's very small. We're just using the mesh and the sprays to kind of give it some fill it out a little bit and make it a little bit more than it really is. That 24 inches is very small, really, when you think about it starting like that. Okay, so we're really pretty good that way. All right. Now, I want to add a little bit of greenery. See how this is. I may add this after. I thought because it was kind of, well, there's 3 pieces to it, so I can wait to add that. So let's get our hearts in here. And I wanted to just kind of stagger them like this. So you see how that, all right. So I think I'm going to try to be daring and just glue it. Let's see if just gluing works. Works for everybody else. I'm hoping it'll work for me as well. Got a new glue gun for Christmas, and boy, this baby has some heat, I'll tell you. Okay, there we go. There's our first one. Just push it down. Hopefully with all that mesh that we have there and the ties, it'll hold it all in place. Hi there, everybody. Darlene, it's nice to see you. You say you're a newbie? So am I. I'm glad you're here, though. That's the only way that we learn, isn't it? Just to see other people go through it. We're all here together, really. Okay, now I'm going to do this next one. I'm going to just angle it slightly different, on a slightly different angle. And just slightly overlap it. Okay. Put some pressure down. Well, you can feel the glue, the heat of the glue coming through this wood. And it's that MDF wood, you know, board, so it's a pretty thick board. It's amazing how hot that is. Okay, and let's put our last one on. Okay. can see that I've put quite a bit of glue on there. And all I want to make sure is that I don't cover up the words. Okay, let's just push it down for a little bit. Then from here, what I'll do is I'm going to make the bow. You know, now if these are sticking out too much, if they go beyond what I want, what I'll do is I'll just clip them off and just re-glue them in. But I think because they're kind of soft and wispy, they won't be too. But I will say this, I'm not really liking this particular piece right here because he looks like he's creating a horn look. We don't need horns up there. Let's take this out right now. Just clip it out. I don't want to put it, and I'll put it in a little bit lower like here. I have a glue pot off to the side. That's what I'm dipping this in. And that way, this one is still the taller one. And then this one is not so, it's not giving it that horn look. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Just take a little bit of time and just put a little bit more glue in, just around where, just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So now what I'd like to do is I'm going to make a bow that kind of sits here. Have some roller coasters down to this point from the bow to the top down here. Then maybe have one that trails down and probably put a little bit of a bow, maybe a half bow down here. So let's put this off to the side, the greenery, and let's make our bow. Now I use a easy bow maker. That to me is the only way. I really can't hold the ribbons very well with my hands. So these are the 3 2.5-inch ribbons that I've chosen. It's a pink, soft pink. These are pink and dark pink, more like fuchsia pink. It may look red on the, but it's actually pink. And I have a white, and I'm just going to put these 2 1.5s with it. So let's just quickly start with the light pink. And what I do is I put a pipe cleaner down the middle of the 2 poles. Okay, so that when I complete the bow and I pull it off of the bow maker. Oh, you love the sign? Thank you, Mary Ellen. I love them too. That to me, I as a child, I remember those conversation hearts all the time. So it makes it's a perfect memory for me. Okay, so I dovetail the end, and this is the side of my bow. I'm going to start on the right-hand side. This is the side that is going to come and drape down here. So I'm going to leave a pretty big, long tail. And just to give you an idea, I know that the bow is going to start here. So I just want to be able to get, I'm going to need a little bit more, enough of a tail to loop it up right here. Okay, so that's pretty good. So let's start at this point. And that gives me, for the side of that, about a 20-inch tail. And I will probably end up cutting part of it off, but we all know it's much easier to cut it off than to help it grow back. So let's start with that. And then I'm going to do a 7-inch loop, twist it. Okay, and then a 7-inch loop on this side as well. And now this tail on this side of the bow is going to come down. So I'm going to leave a long, you don't need to twist that last you can just compress it in there. And I'm going to leave probably about the same, maybe a little bit longer tail, just to be on the safe side. Because I don't want to waterfall them both on the same side. Hi, Sylvia. If I missed your name, I'm sorry. I do appreciate everybody showing up and watching. I'm just trying to work as quickly as possible because I know everybody's time is valuable. So here's the hearts. And this is not a one directional because the hearts are going pretty much all over the place, upside down, you know, so it's fine. You don't need to worry about that. Now this one, I'm going to dovetail. I'm not going to trail this one. So we'll start at the top, twist, and this is probably about an 8-inch tail. I pretty much don't measure when I make my bows, but I will try to make an attempt to give you the approximate. And this one is just slightly less than this first one. This was at 7, so this is probably at 6.5, closer to 7 than 6.5. Okay, and the way I build my bows, I just make an X. Let me cut this off and I'll show you. All right, I'll dovetail it real quick. All right, so I start with the one bow on, and then on the Easy Bow Maker. That's my first one. Then I take the next one and make an X using the tails and the loops. Okay, so there's our X. All right, now the next ribbon, I'm just using a white. I want to just bring it in just a little bit of variance in color. I started up here. Now I'm going to start at the lower right hand side. It's my right hand side, and I'm going to make a tail, a loop, twist it in the middle, and you know we twist because we want the correct side of the ribbon to come up through. And I'm going to just cut this tail, dovetail it. Okay, and then pull that one up. And here's the X created by the white. It's filling in the windows of the ribbon from below. You can see. And by doing it this way, what I found is that I don't have to spend a lot of time fluffing the bow. There we go. Now I'm going to use this slightly darker pink. And do the same thing. I started down here with my first tail, so I'm going to just go up here with this tail. Okay, and then start the X again. I twist it in the middle. Again, I'm bringing these loops in slightly. They're just slightly smaller. Okay, and then just trim up here. All right. Now, the last ribbon I'm going to use to waterfall on top of my very first ribbon. So I'm going to quickly take a look at this. I think this one's going to throw me a curve slightly. It is a directional, and as you can see, we have a joiner right here. We're going to have to cut that off. I don't know. They joined two pieces of the ribbon together, and I just didn't want that to. That would be pretty obvious, so we don't want that showing. I'll cut it off. Now I'm going to take and make this tail as long as that first one. So it's going to be pretty long. Okay, and again, it's because I'm going to take these two tails and waterfall them down. So that's why I'm making this one long. Make sure I have enough of it. Okay, so this is the last loop. Okay. Now, what you'll see is if I continue this down, this tail will be going the wrong way. So I'm going to just cut it right here. Okay, put this tail in, going the opposite way. I'm making it as long as the tail. Okay, now I'm just going to put it in here like this. Okay, and cut that off. Now this, you can see that this is not a good way to end a bow. So what I'll do is I'll just put in one more piece of this pink, just to kind of cover up that fact that I really wasn't paying attention when I planned this. And I'm just going to make a bow tie on this with this ribbon. Just take the two pieces, like so, push it down. See if this is okay. So it just fills in and covers up where we spliced the two together. All right. Now this ribbon right here, I'm just going to twist this whole loop over so that the hearts are going up, and it looks like they're all going their correct way. All right, so now let's just take it off. What I use is a zip tie. Okay, I'm sliding it. Let's make sure you can see this. I'm sliding it underneath, making sure that I'm sliding the zip tie underneath that Chanel stem pipe cleaner, so that pipe cleaner is actually in my bow at the bottom of the bow, and that's how we'll attach it to the wreath. Now before I make sure that looks even. Okay. Now I use the zip tie to pull it up. I slip it between. This is where while keeping it in the Easy Bow Maker, makes the bow easier to hold for me. Okay, take it off, and then just finish pulling it tight. Alrighty. Okay, and I find that the tighter that I get the zip tie, the fluffier the bow turns out. You know, it pulls the loops upward. Okay, so let's just fluff this bow. A lot of the fluffing is already done. I start at the bottom with the pink ribbon, the one that I started with, and of course this is the pink ribbon's tail. And then I just pull opposite directions, tail and loop, tail and loop. Now this one I'm going to pull a little bit easier, only because it was the manufactured. We had to piece that one together. Okay, so this one looks a little short. I'm just going to pull it a little bit. Okay. Alrighty. And then once I have them in the right position, I just fluff them a little bit. Give them life. Give them some courage to stand on their own. Be tall. Okay, let's do the other side quickly. The same thing. I start with the pink. That was the first loop that I put in there. So I'm going to pull the tail and the loops different directions. And then the heart ribbon. And then the white ribbon. Pulling them, the tail of the ribbon and the loop different directions. Same with the pink. And finally with the 1.5 with the hearts on it. All right. Just kind of fluff them up. And there we have it. Okay, and on the bottom what you'll see is we have these two sets that I'm going to waterfall down the side of my swag. So I'm going to put it up there. And then these two, I'm going to pull to the side because they're the ones that are going to come down. And to put my bow in, what I use this needle. It's a plastic crochet needle, pretty much, for tying off your crochet ends. And I just like to use it because it makes it so incredibly easy. I just put the pipe cleaner in, push it down, it comes right out the back, and pull it down. And when you put your bow in, you just have to make sure to get the bow around the spine of your base. Once you do that, that gives you kind of the leverage so that when you pull it, it will, you'll see when I get it through. Okay, there we go. You just pull the two together, and because it's around the spine, it's really giving me some leverage to pull that bow in. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now because I waterfall my tails down the side, I don't need to put that many extra pieces of ribbon in. I'm just taking and hiding that pipe cleaner in the back. Okay. Okay, so let's get this all there we go. And when you waterfall, or when I waterfall at least, I try to give a little bit of distance between the two ribbons, just enough so that when I pinch it together and make that loop, there's a little bit, oh, I'm going to give it myself a little bit more. Let's try it this way. See? Little dimension. Okay, now I'm just going to take it and push it into the side of the wreath, get two of those base ties together, the evergreen ties, and twist it in. Now let's see, I may need to shorten that up a bit. We don't want it to look like an ear, an elephant's ear. So I'm just pulling it down a little bit. There we go. Let's just put this one on top of it. There we go. So you see, there's a little bit of a gap between them so that they're not right on top of each other. Now for this side, I don't want to come here because I want to just come a little either shorter at first and then go longer, but I just don't want to be matchy-matchy on the side. So let's see where this one falls. This one's down here. So let's put this one up here. I'm going to take and give myself the gap again and scrunch it and just tuck it in using these ties up here. Alrighty, there we go. It's just a little bit different, but that's all that I wanted. Now I'm going to just take and cut these and use them. I'll recut dovetails in them and pull them out. And there we go on that side. Alrighty, so we have just one more waterfall to make. And we may not even have to make a waterfall here. Let's see where this one falls here. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is just cut this one as well. And don't worry, I will use those ribbons for tails. I will make an effort to use those so that we don't lose them. And okay, so we'll just pull these out just like we did before. All right, now I want to put now the one thing that with this, the way that I do my bows, I find that, of course, the tails will sometimes hang over the attachment or the whatever I'm using. So what I'll do is I'll just make a adjustment here, maybe pin that a little bit around the heart. I do want it over the heart a little bit, you know, kind of pulling it all in, but I don't want it to be down where you can't see what the heart is. So if that's going to get in the way, I'll just trim it up a little bit. It's like my mom, when I was younger, she would trim my bangs, and they would always get shorter looking, even though so there, because I cut off a little length, it kind of, the ribbon now kind of poofs up more and doesn't drag down over the sign. So let's just trim up this one a little bit as well. And then there we go. Okay. Now, the only thing that I want to do is I would like to just put, I think, a little bow, very small, right here along this edge, so that the tails of the bow can elongate this a little bit more. So why don't we do that really quickly? Let's use alternate. Let's use this and this one. Just make a little two bow, maybe, and I'll use this piece as well. So we'll start with this one. This is called a half bow. Pretty much make it the same way, only with a half bow. I'm only making one loop. Okay, so I'll have a long tail. That's the tail that's going to hang down. Twist it. I'm going to take and make just about a, let's say, a 6-inch loop. I hope you can see this. And push it down. And then I'm going to cut a short tail. So with my half bows, I'll have a long tail and a short tail. The long tail is designed to hang down, and the short tail is designed to go sideways and fill out more room, more space. Okay, so there's that. Now let's take the pink one. Here we go. Do the same thing, but I'm going to start with the short tail on this side of my bow maker. And then just make one loop, compress it down, and then make a long tail. Okay, so then you can see that we have the two tails going down. And finally, is this going to be big enough? This one, oh, this is the, we don't want that one anyway. That was the one that I cut off because of the splicing that they did when they created the ribbon. Let's just take this one real quick. We're going to just make a short tail. And then one long tail. And then we're done. And this one's going to be slightly smaller than this one. See how the bows are staggered, or the loops are staggered? This tail will be longer. And of course, I have that same problem. So we're going to turn this ribbon over. Now the hearts are going upwards. These hearts are okay. I'm cursed with this ribbon today, I think. If it didn't bother me as much, I would leave it, but let's do it the right way. There we go. All right. Now, I'm not going to worry about this, this piece here, because my half bows I pulled down. So we won't even see that. If we do, I'll just trim it. But I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be seen. because of the way that I pull this down. Now I'm going to use a smaller zip tie, go through, make sure I get underneath that pipe cleaner. And there, just pull it off a little bit. Give it a little tightening. And there we go. Pull it as tight as you can. Your bow will fluff up a little bit more. And cut it. Okay, I think we're done with our ribbons now. So I'll move the ribbons out of the way. It's all cleaned up so that it's easier to see what's being done. Like I said in the beginning, I am not, for some reason, and maybe it's because I list my items too late, but I don't sell very many Valentine's Day wreaths. I haven't in the past. So this year I've made a conscientious effort to be more on top of it. And so I've gotten them done pretty early. This was probably my last one, but what I wanted to do is just bring in just a less expensive wreath, you know, not so involved, just something that will, you know, because maybe people aren't buying my wreaths because they're too expensive with all the attachments and things. So I thought, let's just try something different and see. Keep trying things. Okay. I'm just going to pull it through again like I did. There's the piece I was looking for before. There we go. And then I'm going to pull the other one through on the other side of the spine. Make sure that this is going on camera for you. So I'm coming through on the other side, making sure that they straddle the spine in the back so that it really will hold in there nicely. Okay, and pull down as much as you can. Twist it off. And see how the wreath, the loops of the bow kind of fall forward, which is why it's covering up the splice that I did at the bottom there. Okay. Okay, there we go. So just wanted to kind of be a little like corsage along the side of that heart, and then pull these ends down a little bit to give it again a little bit of length towards the bottom. Okay, so let's just dovetail these a little bit. And I always dovetail them at different lengths, or I try to, and then I have to redo them because I missed a little bit, but I'll just, I think this pink one just needs a little bit off. There we go. So you can see they're slightly different. Okay, so now comes the stuffing time. I'm not going to stuff because I am trying to keep this wreath a little bit less expensive, so I'm not going to go overboard. But I do have a few items that I thought would look good in here. And I probably will change my mind. But aren't these the greatest flowers? I am dying to use them, but I just don't think this will bring in a yellow, which I don't know that I want in here. But isn't that I saw those and I thought maybe I could pull those in, but I think with the yellow, I'm gonna stay away from that flower. I do have some of these, which will pick up the deeper color. I have some of this glittered spray, maidenhair. I think that's what they call it, maidenhair. That's a maidenhair fern. I definitely going to use those. Put these to the side. And again, just keeping with the pink theme, I'm just bringing in colors of pink. So I'll just trim these all up and then we'll just start gluing. Oh, you're right. You're right. The lock on the hearts is golden. You're right. Well, let's see what with these, if I do have, because the heads of those flowers are also really large when you open them up. But you are definitely right about the gold from the ribbon pulling the yellow in from that. Let me see. I definitely appreciate that input. What I will do is just put in the things that, let me get my better clippers that don't lock every single time I use them. But we'll just go with this, see what this looks like. And again, it's in an effort to just keep it, the price point of this wreath, a little bit lower. And I would love to say next time I'm on that it's sold. You know what I found today is I'm having trouble making, posting a listing in my Etsy shop. Now I have probably 150, maybe 200 items in my Etsy shop. So I know how to post them, but I've gotten an error notice saying that they're not being published. The last two that I entered were not published. So I have a call into. Has anybody had that problem? You're right. The gold might give it a pop. You're right. Absolutely. But anyway, I have a message into Etsy support to find out if there's something wrong. But like I said, it's not because I'm a newbie on listing them. I don't know what it is, and I tried everything, you know, like I closed down the app and came back, and then I've done everything that, I don't know how anybody else, but you know what always happens to me? I have a problem with something, and I'm frustrated, and you know, then my husband comes along and he'll say, "Did you close down the app and open it up again?" Oh, drives me crazy because he's always right. So guess what? I did that even before I called the support for Etsy. I thought, I'm going to close it down first to make sure. But anyway, now look at these. Aren't these cool? They're wispy and they're fun. I love these. These are really, I think these are new this year for me. I don't know if they've been out long, but this is the first time I've been able to buy them. And all I'm doing is just pretty much making a go pile. I'm the type of person that just loves to have it all cut up and just glue, you know, all at once. Sorry if that's making a loud noise. Okay, so I'm just putting these all over here. See, and they'll have a little bit of movement. And this is like lamb's ear on it. It's beautiful. It's really a beautiful bush. I have two of them. I'm going to use both of them. Yes, I do. I love this color too. It's obviously perfect for Valentine's Day, but I'm looking forward to using it in spring designs as well. It's such a pretty color. Like I said, this is a great spray or bush. It really is cool. Okay, so now I also have these, which are a slightly different color. I'm not going to cut them up until I see what I have left, what room I have left. And then I brought in some white little mums. Now these are kind of flirty too. You know, they kind of move around. So in the scheme of things, I'm going to use the white before the other pink. But let's just see where we're at with this. Let's spread out go with our white first. I'm going to keep this on the side so I know what to reorder. Okay, so let's just start putting in. I want a bigger one down there. One that sticks out just a titch more. Okay, and we're just going to go around the perimeter. Double count to see how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I'm going to do 6 on each up the sides. Now, I don't know if I've told you, I'm an accountant, so I tend to make sure everything is even and trying to break away from that because nothing in nature is even, is it? So I've got to break away from that a little bit more. Now, on all of these that are below the bow, I'm going to kind of point down, and then up above the bow, I'm going to go upwards. So these on this side are, you know, everything that I'm putting in now. I'm just going to put going down, you know, pointing down. It also helps keep the shape of everything, the teardrop shape. Now I'm going to layer that behind the pink. And keep going. This one's a little bit long. Just cut it off a bit. Well, maybe I'll just keep it long. There it is. Okay. Again, I'm going to just point downwards. Bring it down. One's sticking out just a little too far for me, so I'm going to try to get it in a little bit deeper. There we go. And then this one will go out. There we go. It always helps if you're able to glue it to that pine base. The glue seems to make it an instant bond with that pine base rather than just your mesh and things. Okay. This one at the top has 2 going different directions, so I'm going to use it right at the top. Cover the bases that way. Okay. Let's quickly go down the other side. And I do like to kind of alter some are low on the wreath, some are a little bit higher. And one, oops, glue string there. There we go. This one is just a little too long for my liking. Let's just pull this one out real quick. There we go. See if I can get it in a little bit further. Maybe through the mesh up here. That'll be better. There we go. Much better. And I have one left. I think I'm going to go up here with it. Oh, no, I'm not. How about right here? Okay. There we go. Okay, now I'll use the pinks, the pink flowers. There we go. Now let's do our pink flowers real quick. This one's kind of long, so I'll stick it at the bottom. Oh, such a pretty flower. Okay, and we're just going to go around and put them in some spots. Let's kind of do this real quick. I'm going to cut it here. Keep the lamb's ear with this bud. This one. They've got very thin little stems when you separate it from the main one, so it goes in pretty easily. Let's do that again to this one. I think I need one down here too. A smaller, shorter one. The leaves came off. Just going to have to glue them separately. There we go. Alrighty. Let's put one down low. Not sure if I like it there. Let's do it one side at a time. I think that's probably why I'm fighting it. Okay. It's going to have to be cut just a little bit shorter in order to get it in there. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. How are those bears doing, honey? It's my husband just popped on. And he is we're both diehard Bears fan. Yes, you heard it, Bears fan from Chicago. And I don't know why, because I can't remember a good season that they had. I mean, I know that they won the Super Bowl in 1985. That was the year my son was born. But they haven't been good since then. But we still hang in there. Thank you, Darlene, for sprinkling. I appreciate that. Okay, let's try to keep these two together up here at the top. See, for me, it's kind of easy to just keep going around and filling in once everything is cut off. Let's just fluff out this roller coaster again. And it got compressed a bit. You want a little something in the bow, but I don't want it to come up too far. There we go. Okay, almost done. Few more. This one in a little behind it to give it depth. Stick it further in and lower. And then we just have this one. I'll separate this quickly. Nope, too close to the other ones. Maybe up here a little bit. We need just a little bit up underneath the bow. There we go. Make sure that that comes out still. Okay, now we still have the white flowers that I want to put in. The little flirty mums that jump around a bit. This in real quick here. There we go. Okay, and we still have the white. Okay, so the last piece I'm going to try. Let's just see what these look like. I'm not a fan of the leaves, so if I lose a few of these leaves, I'm not going to be too upset. But let's just see if we can, what these look like if I spread them about a little bit here and there. Yeah, I think it helps because it gives it a little bit of a dimension. Different. These are little buds. These are a little bit bigger. So let's just sprinkle a few of these in. Make sure that they're not too far in there because then they can wiggle a little when you. I love movement in wreaths. I think that is. You know, if there's a gentle breeze outside or on your porch and it just moves it a little bit. Now all I'm doing is quickly cutting off just the buds. I don't want the leaves. Yeah, Mary Ellen and Belinda, yes, I agree that those pink flowers are, if you guys want the number to them, I don't know if this helps you at all, but that 63782 BTY. I think BTY stands for beauty because that's the color, but it's 63782 BTY. Believe me, if I could track more down, you know, because when you get a new product, you don't, you know, that's one thing that I love about going to Jen's. When I go to the workshops, seeing the products in person is just so different for me. So when you take a chance and you buy them, you know, from a live sale and you see them, you just hope when they come to you that, you know, they're as good as you remember. These far surpass my expectations. And I do want to track down where I bought them from so that I could buy some more. I just really love, you know, just they were easy to use. They divide up and they really do give it a pop. You're right. Okay, so I'm just going to sprinkle these around a bit, spread them out. I'll probably finish off with that only because, like I said, I'm just trying to keep it. I'm going to do kind of a dry run just to see. I know this one's glued in, but all the other ones won't be until I, but I'm trying to just keep the price a little bit on the lower side so that maybe I can sell it. That is, of course, if my Etsy shop can get back online. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. It'll work itself out. Oh, too close now. I will find a way to figure that out. Okay. Okay, I might need some more up on the top up here. Two left. One here would be good, I think. And then maybe one here. Get it in. Okay, I'm not too happy with the spread I have. Need one more up top. Which is why I'm glad I didn't glue those in. Okay, so that's what I'll do. I'll glue this one up the top. That gives me a good spread. Just tuck them in. And again, when I glue, I'm trying to get, if it's possible, to get that evergreen base. It gives it a little bit more stability. Okay, those three are in. Let's do this one. This is always the danger for me of doing dry runs, forgetting to go back and catch all of them. Okay, that's in. This one's in. I started with that one. Let's put this one. That cover up a pink flower. There we go. I can see you're going to be a problem there, buddy. Okay. Now this was pretty much my second live that I've done. And I know that there are a lot of people who are watching that have done more lives than me. So if you have any suggestions for me, boy, I'd appreciate it. Just drop them in the comment. I don't mind. I don't mind the criticism if it's constructive. If you can help me out, I really would appreciate it. And that's pretty much it there. This is all I think I'm going to put in here. Just again to keep it, bend that down a little bit, keep it a little bit on the lower price of my shop. I appreciate all of your time, everyone who is here. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that. And again, if you have any suggestions on the process of my live, I would love to hear from you. I appreciate any experience anybody can lump my way. So that's about it. Again, thank you for hanging with me. I appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your Sunday.